All right, welcome back. And in the last episode, we did the health system for the player, so the player can take some damage, and you can see it on the screen here. Now, in this episode, we're going to add some thirst and hunger to that. So let's go ahead and add thirst and hunger. Easy way to do this. It's not going to take too long, I don't think. Let's go back to our HUDs. Let's go to our status HUD here. And in the status HUD, you're going to see that we did a health bar, the weight. Let's go ahead and move the weight down. And let's duplicate the health. Duplicate. Put it under here, and we're going to call it hunger instead. It has the little columns after it, so do that. Even on the health, I didn't do that. Just make it clean. Okay. Actually, I should space it out. Give it a. Oops. All right, so let's add another progress bar. We don't have to copy this progress bar, let's just add a new one. And all you gotta do is size it out to make sure it's the same size. And if you just want it to be the exact same size, you can come over here to the right and just copy the size and just paste the size into this progress bar. Now they're the exact same size. Another thing you could do is you can copy the position. You see the position in the X right here is -290. You can copy and paste it. Now, when I paste it, you're going to see this block move. And why did it move? It's moved because the anchor. It's anchored to the left side of the screen. We actually need to anchor it to the right side of the screen. So make sure you anchor it to the right side of the screen like this. And then we can copy that position, and the position should match up with the top position. Everything should be good. Compile and save. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to go into your progress bar. Let's go to our third-person blueprints, our third-person character, and let's fill out the hunger. So we got to make two variables. We got to make hunger. The first variable we need is hunger, and the next one we need is max hunger, and both of these are going to be integers. Well, actually, let's do it as a float, because floats would do better in this situation. We'd have to do less conversion. So let's do hunger and max hunger as floats. Compile and save. And this is going to be really simple to set up. All we've got to do is set up, hold on, let me comment this real quick. This is what we did last time. So I'm going to comment this as take damage and get that out the way. Okay. Now, we need to set up a hunger function, something that will drain your hunger. So go to functions and create a new function called drain hunger. And this way we can set it up so our hunger is going to be drained. And it's very simple to do. All we've got to do is drag off hunger and say get hunger, and then type in decrement. And what that's going to do is going to -1 from your hunger and then set the hunger to whatever that value would be. But what we need to do also is we need to set the hunger. The value of hunger needs to be set to 100. So we should just set it to 100 or whatever you want to set it to. Mine's going to be 100. But after this, we just need to call a return node pretty much because that's it. It sets the value of hunger and we just return, and that's the function. Pretty simple, like I said. Now, what we need to do is make sure that function is being called on some kind of timer so that it's always being called over and over and over again so that it'll drain this health bar the correct way. So let's compile and save, and we need to call this function. Go to your event graph, and let's find a blank spot here. Or actually at the end of the event begin play, right after we created the widget, drag off of that. So it's right at the beginning. Begin play, Drag off the end of that, and what we're going to do is we're going to type in drain. No. We're going to type in set timer by function. Exactly, function name. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get our function name and plug it right in. So let's find the name of our function, which is called drain hunger, and we're just going to copy it and paste it. So just click on it, the name, to copy it. And you can just copy and paste it where it says function name. Now the time is how often you want this function to run. So for me, I want it to run every like what, 5 seconds or something like that. So right here we could type in 5. And we want it to loop because we want it to be continuously going. Now, all these other ones I do not mess with for this because I don't need them to be messed with. This would do exactly what we need. So let's go ahead and compile and save, and let's test it out. Let's actually see. Oh, actually, we have to plug the hunger up first. So let's bind our hunger by creating a binding. Drag off there and say third person character. Cast the third person character. Get player character. And then we're just going to get hunger and divide it by max hunger. This way we can have the value of hunger in our progress bar. We need to make sure we set max hunger too, though. I don't think we set that. So you'll set it to 100, compile and save. And now just divide hunger by max hunger and plug in the results. Cool. Compile and save. Now let's test it out and see if all of this is working. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. Let's do the time. Let's actually change the time to 1 so we can see it in action. Compile, save, and let's play. So if you look in the top right on my hunger bar, it's starting to tick down continuously. And that's exactly what we want. So now that we've got that working perfectly, that's great. What we need to do now is set up some kind of thirst bar because we know that the hunger works and the thirst will work almost the exact same way. The only thing will be different is the color. So go back into your status HUD and let's go to the design. We're just going to change the color of our hunger so it's not blue, so we can make our thirst blue. Let's change our hunger to orange. And let's change our thirst. Let's add a thirst bar. So in our third person character, what we need to do is add 2 variables. One is going to be thirst. One is going to be max thirst. And they both should be floats. Now compile and save. And we need to create a function for thirst. Well, let's first set our thirst to 100 and our max thirst to 100. But we also need to create a function for thirst the same way we just did for drain hunger. So let's go ahead and create a function called drain thirst. And you know how to set this up, or you should. All we do is drag off thirst. So we're going to get thirst, drop it in. Then we're going to say decrement float, plug that in, and then do a return node. Perfect. Now, so compile and save. And back in the event graph, let's go ahead and call it at the end. So set timer by function name again. And this time the function name is going to be the function that we just made for our thirst. So go up to your thirst function, and we're going to copy the name. Oops. Copy and paste the name where it says function name. Also remember to set the timer to 1 in this case, but whatever you want it in your game. Probably in the official game, I'm going to set it higher, and make sure you click looping. Now, let's go ahead and set that up in the status HUD that we have. Let's drag the weight down, and we're going to put it right underneath hunger. So copy and paste hunger, and drag that over, and then put another progress bar over here and anchor it to the right. We'll call this one thirst. Now, just drop a progress bar in, stretch it out, and make sure you anchor it to the right side of the screen. All right, after it's anchored, you can copy the position in the X just to make sure it's in the same position as the other one. And then you can copy the size in the X too, just to make sure it's the same size as the other ones. Perfect. Now we've got a thirst bar. If you want to change the color of thirst from blue to something else, make sure you can change that, but I don't. I'm going to compile and save. But what I need to do is set up a binding for the percentage. So binding, create binding, and we're going to do cast a third person character, get player character, and we're going to do that get thirst, And we're going to divide it by max thirst. And we're going to plug that result in. So divide. Perfect. Compile and save. And now thirst honestly should be set up. That should be it. So let's test it out. Play. And as you see, my hunger and my thirst bar are both taken down. And that's exactly what we wanted to accomplish in this episode. So I hope you guys learned something. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments. In the next episode, we're going to keep on learning some new stuff. Maybe we'll do some pickups so that we can fill up our thirst and hunger, and so that we don't die. And then we'll set up the death animation and connect it to hunger and thirst too. But other than that, that's all I wanted to go over in this episode. Hopefully, again, you learned something. But I will holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.
Run to the money, on the feet, don't fail. The DA and the judge, on the do they best to jail.